YouTube? Welcome to the Reptile Barn. I have a video I have been thinking about for a while, and I'm going to do it. It's kind of a rant, at least parts of it, but I'm sorry about that. You have probably seen videos from much bigger, more successful reptile breeders than me about how to become a reptile breeder. How to break into the hobby and become a breeder, right? Whether that's just, how to breed as a hobby or even to become a professional breeder. You've seen the videos probably if you're on YouTube a lot. I'm going to do a video about how to become a reptile breeder, but it's not going to be like those guys' videos at all, I don't think. I'm not going to really talk about how to even breed snakes or how to sell snakes or how to incubate eggs or any of that stuff. I'm not even going to really talk about very many business techniques or things like that. I feel like I'm still a small enough breeder, even though we're doing very well. I'm very happy with where our business is at. We're still a little guy, right? I don't feel like I'm in a place to be telling everybody else what to do with their business. However, in one way, this is still going to be a video about how other people could become a reptile breeder. See, there's a difficulty, right? It used to be, 20 or 30 years ago, the difficulty used to be growing the market at all. Having enough people who even wanted to buy a pet snake so that you could be a breeder and sell snakes for a living, right? So the old school breeders, that was kind of their battle, right? They had to establish the hobby. And some of them are still doing it today, There are a lot of breeders who have been around for 20 plus years who have done an enormous amount of work that we all are benefiting from because now there's millions of people who like reptiles, literally millions around the world who would love to have a pet reptile, right? Or 12 pet reptiles. So there's already this huge market for us new people coming in trying to become breeders. We have people that we can already sell to, right? So that was the original battle. Our battle now, though, us newer people, is breaking into the established breeders. There are established breeders now, lots of them, for almost every reptile that's in the trade. And to become one of them can be a little bit difficult because people have heard of, if you're into retics, I'm sure you've heard of Prehistoric Pets, you've heard of Bob Clark, you've heard of these people that have been doing retics for a long, long, long time, and it's a lot harder to find, whoever, some new retic breeder, even if they're really good. They have awesome snakes, great, everything is clean and well kept, and the genetics are strong and beautiful animals, you don't know about them, so it's hard for that guy to get established, right? And we started with ball pythons. There's more ball python breeders than probably anything else. Maybe leopard geckos or corn snakes, but really ball python breeders, that is probably the number one thing people start out with when you want to breed. So it can be hard to break in and get people to know about you and give you a chance when it'd be a lot easier to just go to the established people. Anyway, there's one thing that I will talk about in this video. I apologize, it's going to be a little bit of a longer video, but I think that this is important, this is key. If you want to really break in and gain a reputation for a good breeder, this will be something you're going to want to do, okay? And it's called customer service. I have a bunch of stuff written down here, so I apologize if I'm glancing down like this, but I didn't want to miss these key points, okay? The idea isn't so much techniques, although I'll talk about some techniques here. The idea is that you have to treat people well. It's really simple. If you are already somebody who goes out of your way to treat people well, most of this isn't going to be that important. You're already just going to naturally do it. If you really, really think about what will be best for my customer, what will be best for the animals that I'm sending them, then you're probably doing most of this already. But if not, if these things, I'm not saying that if you're not a good person who treats people nicely, but if you're not yet established as a breeder and you're thinking about, what can I do to give the best possible customer service, I have a list, okay? First, you must give people your real attention. What do I mean? you have to give them some time. And the more animals you sell and the more customers you're working with, the harder that's going to be. No matter how much Justin Kabilka or let's go with a bigger breeder, Brian Barczyk, no matter how much he loves his customers, he has thousands and thousands and thousands of customers. He can't have an hour conversation with every single one of them. He just can't. Lots of the bigger breeders are like that. There's some of them really do like the people they work with. They can't give that enormous amount of interaction with each customer. Us little guys getting started, that's where we have an advantage, right? We can give a lot of time to people. Give people full answers. When they ask a question saying, yeah, you can use PayPal to buy this snake. That's not what they asked. They asked, what's it eating? Or can I get a couple extra pictures? Give them real, complete answers. And then the other part of this, of just in general treating people well and giving them your real attention, would be promptness. That doesn't mean you have to sit on your phone waiting for these emails to come in, and the second one comes in, you're frantically typing a response. That's not what I mean. But if you tell people, I try and get back to people within 24 hours, then get back to people within 24 hours. Now, if you're in the hospital, if you're sick, if there's a special event in your family, that's different. But most of the time, you should be pretty darn reliable that you're going to get back to people quickly. There's a lot of breeders out there. They can go to someone else, right? If you don't answer fairly quickly, they're going to go to someone else. So, second topic, keep your word. This seems like basic integrity, but you'd be surprised. I have seen this in two directions. One, people say, yes, I want that snake, I'm going to buy that snake. And then they flake out. That is absolutely infuriating for breeders, right? This is why we don't put animals on hold most of the time unless someone actually puts down some money. Because no matter what people say, we've had the experience where they say they're going to buy a snake and then they don't. Now, if you say, yes, I'm interested, that's fine if you don't buy the snake. But if you say, I'm going to buy that snake, then you better mean it, right? Otherwise, you're kind of putting the breeder in a tight spot. Now, believe it or not, I have also experienced this personally, the opposite direction, where I tell somebody, I want to buy this animal, they say, okay, and then they don't get back to me for a few days, and when they finally answer, like, oh, I actually sold it to somebody else. Why will I ever come back to that breeder? Honestly, why would I ever come back to that breeder? That makes no sense at all. I won't. That just blows my mind that breeders could do that. I'm offering them money right now. They, for whatever reason, they don't check their email or their Facebook or whatever for a couple days, and then they have a buddy, or I don't know what happens. They sell the animal that I was offering to buy from them. That just kills me, And as far as I know, it's not a case of I'm saying I want to buy this animal and the breeder tells me, oh, sorry, someone else just put down a deposit on that animal. That's different. Of course, that's totally understandable. But this is an animal that, to all my knowledge, is available, and they just don't get back to me in time, and then someone else comes up with some money for them, maybe a local, and I'm out of luck. That is just crazy to me. So keep your word. If an animal's for sale, it's got to actually be for sale. Other than that, I would include in this category of keeping your word, if you're on a payment plan, make your payments. If you don't know if you're going to be able to make the payments on a certain animal, don't start. Don't purchase the animal, right? If a breeder is asking for a certain payment plan, you got to be able to keep the payment plan. I do understand that occasionally real emergencies come up, but in most cases, you should be on top of your finances enough that if you're buying an animal, you're actually buying that animal on the timeline that you agreed to. And the other thing is, more on the breeder's end, keep your appointments, right? If someone says, I want to see more pictures of this animal, you're like, okay, I'm not at home right now, or I'm already closed for the night, or whatever it may be, but I'll, by tomorrow or even 2 days from now, whatever it is, I'll send you those pictures. You got to do it. I know it's hard to remember, but we have these fun little devices with appointments and stuff. If you got to use that, then you got to use that, because people are relying on you to give them the information they needed on the animal that they want to spend money on. So, third topic. This gets more into some tips, I guess. Not so much a rant, but just some tips for customer service. Things that you could, as a breeder, trying to bring people to you, right? Trying to be a cut above the rest. Things that you might consider including with the purchase of an animal. Some of these are free. Things like just sending them extra pictures. If someone says, I'm really interested in this snake, it looks beautiful, what's it eating? And that's in an email, why don't you just email a few extra pictures to them when you're answering their questions? Say, oh yeah, and here it is, you know, right after a shed or something. So I've had some people request short little videos. Sometimes that's because they want to make sure that I'm really a legit breeder. Sometimes they just want to see the snake moving. They just want to see it on a camera, or like, you know, in a video instead of just a still shot. For whatever reason, they want, you know, a 5-second video. I'm totally fine with that. I send it to them. I don't usually like offer that off, you know, for every single inquiry, but if someone asks, I'm happy to do that. When people ask information about feeding, promptly answer. Hopefully you're not listing animals for sale that are, you know, babies that aren't eating. That would, maybe in certain special cases, if you're selling to another breeder and the second the snake comes out of the egg, they want it and you're shipping it to them, that's different. But normally, if you're shipping to customers, you shouldn't be selling them animals that aren't eating, right? So answer their questions, give them all the info they need about what they're eating. If you as a breeder are able to, sometimes it's nice to be like, hey, do you prefer mice or rats? I can't guarantee they'll switch over, but I'm happy to offer them this other prey item if you'd prefer. There's lots of little things you can offer to people that kind of show that you really are trying to be the best, right? You can give them the snake's current weight. Most people are going to ask for that anyways. Make sure you have good records. Lots of people want to know the day that the snake hatched. So if you can tell them its birthday, that kind of can be a fun little thing that people like and will remember about you. Offer to be a resource for them throughout the snake's entire life. I think this is very important. I try and tell this to everyone who ever buys a snake. Make sure they understand, if you ever have a question or concern, please let me know. I'm happy to help. Even if it's 10 years from now, right? I will happily help if it's any snake of yours, but especially one that I sold to you, right? So, category 4, things to do with sales. Things that you could try offering, multiple animal discounts. A lot of people do that. So if, you know, if a customer buys 3 animals or 6 animals, maybe give them a little discount because they're buying so many animals at once. If it's a return customer that's bought a lot of animals from you and it's been a really good customer for you, maybe give them a return customer discount. If I've seen a lot of breeders, if it's a really expensive animal, they will cover or at least subsidize the shipping costs. I think that's a cool little thing that can kind of bring you back to a certain person, you know? Shipping is not an insignificant cost. A lot of people are spending $50 or $60 or more to ship these animals. So if you can tell somebody, you know, you just bought a $1,000 animal, I'll cover shipping, that means a lot to people and they'll remember you. Trust me, they'll remember you. You gotta remember, let me just step outside of this for a minute. We're doing these things because we're trying to treat people well, right? We're being genuine. We're not doing it because we're trying to up our sales. Of course, that's going to be a natural result. But if you're not genuine, people can tell. If these are just little gimmicky things that you're doing to try and get more sales, people can tell how genuine you are, right? Even through an email, sometimes people can tell, but especially face-to-face or on the phone, people really can tell. So be genuine. Do these things because you're trying to be good to your customers, not just for your bottom line, right? Of course, you're a business. You want your bottom line to look good. You want a good cash flow. You want lots of people returning to your business and being return customers. You want word of mouth to spread word about your business. You want customers leaving so happy that they're telling their friends about you and they're coming to you for their snakes, right? However, just remember, we're doing these things trying to be good businesses that are taking care of their customers, right? The last thing, as far as like little sales things go, lots of people will include some sort of free merch in a shipment. So they might just put in, you know, the little cards that have pictures and information about their website. Some people even have included, you know, little wristbands or T-shirts. Some people go all out, you know, they put all sorts of stuff in there. So that's just another thing to think about. They can kind of set you apart from other breeders that they may have looked at before. Category 5, actually support the hobby. There's a huge movement going on right now that I'm very grateful for, of breeders supporting breeders. This is so important. Please be supportive. If you don't have the snake somebody's looking for, but you know a breeder who does, don't be jealous, isn't really the right word, but tell the customer where they can buy that snake that they're looking for. If you are out of pieds and you know a breeder who has a bunch of pieds they just hatched that are beautiful, tell them and let them go buy from that guy. Hopefully he'll return the favor, but even if he doesn't, you are supporting the hobby, right? The other hobbyists and breeders out there that also are trying to build their business. Don't worry. There are plenty of buyers out there. Someone will find you. If you are doing these things and you are taking excellent care of your customers, someone will find you. You're not going to run out of buyers, right? If you point a couple of customers towards another breeder, that's only a good thing. You're not losing purchases. You didn't have the snake they wanted, right? That includes things like feeders and supplies too. It's not just the actual animals that they want, right? We just discovered Alaska bug dealers. I didn't know about them. It's a business up here in Alaska that produces feeder insects for sale. And I was thrilled, and I've been pointing people to them constantly. Anyone who comes and talks about their pet bearded dragon or their geckos or whatever, I've been like, are you buying at the pet store right now, your crickets? I guarantee these people have better things across the board for your lizard to eat, right? So that's another way you can support the hobby. Support the people who are doing cages or rack systems or whatever it may be, right? Category 6, we kind of talked about this already. You're sending a live animal into its hopefully forever home. Be ready to support the person who bought that animal, not only for your customer's sake, but for the animal's sake, right? You should care about these animals that you are bringing into the world. If they intend to breed later on, walk them through the breeding process, the incubation process, setting up hatchlings, advice on anything in general, but especially if it's a new baby snake and maybe it's not eaten for them yet and they're getting worried, support them through that. I know that baby snakes take a while. When you move them to a new home, maybe a bigger cage than it's used to, they can go weeks and weeks without eating. I know this happens. And so I don't stress out too badly about it anymore. But these people, what if it's their first snake? They are stressed, so support them through it. This is your snake's forever home, right? To me, it is so enjoyable to see these snakes that, while I take excellent care of them, they live in a little plastic tub, right? I love seeing these snakes go to places where people have these epic decked out cages and the snake has room to stretch out and grow and just experience something new and have somebody that's going to take, that's going to baby it, right? I just love seeing my baby snakes go to people who take such good care of them. Now, we've also touched on this last topic number 7, but I'm going to emphasize it one last time. You must actually care. This cannot be just little techniques that you're using to try and up your sales. Of course, you want to up your sales. Again, making money when you're a business is absolutely essential. That is not bad. That's not anything to be embarrassed about. Do things to increase your sales, absolutely. But taking care of your customers should be done because you care about your customers and you care about the animal they just purchased from you. You should be happy and even anxious to take care of that snake throughout the rest of its life. Obviously not personally because you sold it to somebody, but if they have a question or concern about that snake, you should want to give them advice about it. You shouldn't think, oh, well, they bought it, now it's their concern. That's not how we should be. You should care strongly to be a good person, and for future sales, you should care strongly about your customer having an excellent experience, right? Return customers are a huge deal in this hobby because you know as well as I do, people don't just want one snake. They might think they just want one snake, but pretty soon they want 2 snakes. Pretty soon after that, their wife, who hated snakes, wants her own snake. And then she wants her second snake. And all of a sudden, if you took good care of this person on the first snake you sold, all of a sudden you've got 4 sales. And maybe down the line, you're going to make, from word of mouth spreading all over the place, you never know how many sales that could turn into. Whereas if you didn't take good care of them, if you didn't support them every step of the way, you might have lost out on 50 sales throughout the lifetime of that one snake, right? You don't want that. You want to have a good reputation as somebody who will take care of these people. This includes, if you screw up, fix it. I just had an experience that blew my mind. As far as I'm aware, this has never happened to me before. In the several hundred snakes we've sold, had a customer, an old customer that we sold to a long time ago. She was asking about another snake, which made me happy, and mentioned in passing that the snake we'd sold her before, that was sold to them as a male, is actually a female. This blew my mind. I don't think I've ever messed up the gender on a snake before that I've sent out to somebody. I thought for sure she was mistaken, but she took it to an exotics vet with years of experience in reptiles, just for a kind of a yearly checkup. And the vet was like, "This is a girl. This isn't a boy." And she's like, "Are you sure?" The breeder was positive it's a boy. And so maybe the vet messed up, but it's not the type of person that would just be wrong. You know, this is a person with decades of experience with reptiles. So my mind was blown. 1, that I messed up. 2, that the customer wasn't mad at me. This is a customer who's looking to breed in the future. So she had every right to be furious with me, and she wasn't mad at all. So I have to fix this problem. Now, this customer has decided she wants this snake, right? So I'm not just gonna give her all her money back because she wants to keep the snake. She's gonna breed this snake in the future. She wants more snakes, in fact. She's not mad at all. She should be, but she's not. So I need to find a way to fix this, make this better, because I can't believe I did this. My only hope that I'm holding out on, she told me that the vet tried to pop the snake, right? Sometimes when you have a snake, a male, that is several years old, they are plenty strong to resist being manually everted, right? So I told her to get a probing kit and probe the snake. I have a feeling it is a male. It just wasn't allowing the vet to evert the hemipenes. That's my hope. That will make me feel so much better. Please, all of you, if anyone on here is someone that I've sold a snake to before, I promise this is not something that comes up a lot. But I wanted to be honest with you guys and bring this up because it really is important. If you make a mistake, fix it. It's not just the gender. If you're selling a snake as a whatever genetics, and you have on your website, I guarantee the genetics of my animals, and then it turns out to not be, you need to fix it. That might mean you're out a lot of money because you're sending them a new snake for free. But whatever it means, you gotta fix it, right? If you want to be this kind of breeder who has a flawless reputation, that does not mean you're a breeder who doesn't make mistakes. It means you're a breeder that if you make mistakes, you fix it, right? So anyways, that's all of my key points I wanted to cover. I view this as a video of how to become a successful snake breeder, how to break into the hobby as a breeder, right? And start to sell snakes. I know that it's not the typical way that these videos are done, but I think that customer service is the #1 way you can set yourself apart. Somebody out there is producing more crazy snakes than you are, right? Probably someone like Ozzy Boyd's or Justin Kabilka or some of these people that have been doing it for a lot longer than we have and have built up these collections that they're going to make cooler snakes than we can, right? But you can have just as excellent or even better customer service than any of those guys. You really can, because it's not about I have a $10,000 snake that's the coolest thing of all time. It's about I will take care of this customer forever. I will do whatever it takes to make sure they have a great experience. I'm not saying you need to do a whole bunch of things that are going to lose your business money, but being a good person doesn't lose your business money. In fact, quite the opposite, as we've talked about. So, that's all I've got for you. I hope you enjoyed this. There were no animals in this video, but this video is about business and about customer service. I am sitting in front of this cage here with Jet and Ash behind me. I promise that these window panels, they're not filthy. We run a humidifier in this room, and the windows, after about 10 minutes after we wipe them, they fog up, and then they start to streak, and they get all blotchy and patchy. They're not dirty. We do wipe them down. Anyway, I just didn't want you to think that they're living in this filthy cage. Caleb is meticulous. He babies these things. I'm in the side of the snake stuff that he takes care of most of these animals in here. So I promise he is a fanatic when it comes to keeping them clean. If he cleans the cage, goes to the next cage and cleans, and then the animal in the cage he just cleaned pees like a little piece this tiny of urate, he will re-clean that cage. He's just crazy about it. Anyway, sorry, that's a total side note, but I just realized how disgusting that looks. It's not disgusting. It's just the like hard water gets that white stuff everywhere. Hope you liked this video. I hope it was helpful to some of you. I know that many of you are already breeders on a larger scale than I am, but I know some of you at least are hopefully in your future you want to breed your snakes and you want to sell the babies that you produce. So I hope this has been a hopeful message to you, because sometimes it's daunting to go up against the people who are producing 5,000 snakes a year and every single one of them is incredible. And you're like, how can I compete with these guys? Well, customer service, that's how. Anyways, this has been the Reptile Barn. I hope you enjoyed it. Go ahead and comment down below if you have anything to add or ask or comment on. I always enjoy reading your comments. So until next time, this is the Reptile Barn.